My girlfriend laughed. You're really wearing that to my company party? About my best suit, the one I'd spent a month's salary on. I said, you're right, I'll change. Then I changed into jeans, grabbed my keys, and drove to a sports bar instead. When her CEO asked where her partner was all night. Original post. I, 27 male, work as a warehouse supervisor for a logistics company. It's honest work, good benefits, decent pay, around $52,000 a year. Not glamorous, but I'm proud of what I do. I manage a team of 12 people, handle inventory worth millions of dollars, and haven't had a major incident in 3 years. My girlfriend works in marketing for a tech startup. She makes about $85,000, which is great for her, but the culture at her company is a lot. Everyone's obsessed with image. Designer clothes, expensive watches, talking about their Teslas and their Peloton scores. I met her coworkers a few times, and they're nice enough, but I always feel like I'm being quietly evaluated. We've been together for 2.5 years. Moved in together 8 months ago. Things have mostly been good, but lately she's been making more comments about how I present myself. Small things at first, suggesting I get a different haircut, asking if I really need to wear my work boots when we go grocery shopping, that kind of stuff. I let it slide because relationships require compromise, right? I got the haircut. I bought some nicer casual shoes. Whatever. Then came the company party. Her startup was celebrating a major funding round. $40 million Series B, apparently a big deal. The CEO was hosting a party at some fancy venue, and partners were explicitly invited. She'd been talking about this event for weeks, stressing about what she was going to wear, how important it was to make a good impression. I want to look my best too. So I went out and bought a suit. Not just any suit. I did research, watched YouTube videos about fit, fabric, what makes a suit look expensive even if it isn't. I went to a men's store that does proper tailoring, not just off-the-rack stuff. I picked out a charcoal gray wool suit, got it fitted to my body, added a crisp white shirt, and a burgundy tie. Total cost, $1,247. That's basically a full month of my take-home pay after rent and bills. But when I looked in the mirror after everything was tailored, I felt good. I felt like I belonged somewhere important. I felt like I could stand next to anyone at that party and not be embarrassed. The night of the event, I got ready early. Showered, shaved, put on the suit, checked myself in the mirror about 15 times. My girlfriend was still doing her makeup when I walked into the bedroom. She looked at me, did a literal double take. Then she laughed. Not a polite chuckle, a full-on, dismissive laugh. You're really wearing that to my company party? I stood there, confused. What's wrong with it? It's fine for like a funeral or a job interview at a bank. But this is a tech party. People are going to be in designer stuff, trendy cuts. That looks like something my dad would wear. I spent over $1,000 on this suit. It's tailored. Yeah, but it's so basic. Can't you wear something else? Maybe that blue blazer with some nice jeans? You told me it was a formal event. Formal doesn't mean boring. She sighed. I don't want people to think my boyfriend doesn't know how to dress. I stared at her. This woman I'd been building a life with for over 2 years. Looking at me in the best clothes I'd ever owned. Clothes I'd saved for and researched and carefully selected. And her reaction was embarrassment. Something shifted in my chest. You're right, I said. I'll change. She looked relieved. Thank you. I knew you'd understand. Maybe the navy blazer? And that gray shirt I bought you. Sure. She went back to her makeup. I went to the closet. I changed into jeans. A plain black t-shirt. My everyday sneakers. Then I grabbed my keys and my wallet. What are you doing? She asked, watching me head for the door. I'm going to watch the game. The game? The party starts in an hour. Yeah, I'm not going to the party. What do you mean you're not going? You just told me I'm not good enough to be seen with you. So I'm removing the problem. That's not what I said. You said you didn't want people to think your boyfriend doesn't know how to dress. While looking at me in a suit I spent a month's pay on. I got the message. You're being ridiculous. You're overreacting. Maybe, but I'm also leaving. Have fun at your party. I walked out the door, got in my car, drove to my favorite sports bar, the one where I used to watch games with my buddies before I got too busy with relationship stuff. My best friend was there. He took one look at my face, ordered me a beer, and asked what happened. I told him. He called my girlfriend a few creative names. Then we watched the game together like old times. Around 10 p.m., my phone started buzzing. Text from her. Where are you? People keep asking about you. My CEO specifically asked to meet my partner. This is so embarrassing. Call me back now. I didn't respond. Turned my phone face down and ordered another round. The next morning, I woke up on my buddy's couch. Checked my phone. 19 missed calls, 34 texts, and 1 voicemail. The voicemail was something, "I can't believe you did this to me. Do you have any idea how humiliating it was to explain where you were? To tell my CEO that my boyfriend just didn't show up? I looked like an idiot. I looked like I was lying about even having a partner. This was the most important night of my career, and you ruined it because of your fragile ego. We're talking about this when you get home." I saved the voicemail. Something told me I might need it later. Then I drove home to have the conversation she demanded. Update 1, 4 days later. The conversation when I got home was about as productive as you'd expect. She was waiting in the living room, arms crossed, looking like she'd been up all night preparing her argument. I walked in, still in last night's clothes, and sat down across from her. "Do you have any idea what you did to me?" she started. "I went to watch a game instead of going to a party where my presence was apparently an embarrassment. I never said you were an embarrassment. You laughed at my suit. You said you didn't want people to think your boyfriend doesn't know how to dress. How else am I supposed to interpret that? I was trying to help you. I didn't want you to feel out of place by telling me I looked like something your dad would wear." She didn't have a response for that, so she pivoted. "The point is, you made a choice. You chose your pride over supporting me at an important event. No, I chose my self-respect over being treated like an accessory you were ashamed of. That's not fair." Neither was laughing at me. We went around in circles for another hour. She wanted me to apologize for embarrassing her. I wanted her to apologize for insulting me. Neither of us budged. Finally, she said something that stuck with me. "My coworkers keep asking what happened. What am I supposed to tell them? Tell them the truth. That my boyfriend threw a tantrum because I gave him fashion advice? Is that what you think happened? That's what it looks like. Then maybe you should examine why it looks that way." She threw her hands up. "You're impossible to talk to. And you're impossible to. Please, maybe that's the actual problem." That conversation ended with her storming off to the bedroom and slamming the door. I spent the night on the couch. Over the next few days, things got worse. She started making passive-aggressive comments about everything. My clothes, my job, my friends, my inability to communicate like an adult. Every conversation became a minefield. Then her friends got involved. I started getting texts from her best friend. "You really need to apologize to her. She's devastated." And from her sister, "I heard what happened. You should be ashamed of yourself. She was counting on you." And from her college roommate, "Wow, imagine ditching your girlfriend at a work event." Real mature. They'd clearly only heard her version. The version where I threw a tantrum over fashion advice and abandoned her at the most important night of her career. I didn't engage with any of them. Just left the messages on read. But I did screenshot everything. Something about the coordinated attack felt calculated, like she was building a case. On day 4, she came home from work with a different energy. Calmer, more composed. Sat me down for another talk. "I've been thinking," she said, "and I've talked to some people about what happened." "What people?" "Friends. My therapist. My mom." "Okay. And I think we need to have a serious conversation about where this relationship is going." "I agree. I need a partner who can show up for me, who can put aside his own ego for one night to support my career. And honestly, I'm starting to wonder if you're capable of that." I let that sit for a moment. "And I need a partner who doesn't humiliate me for trying to look my best, who doesn't laugh at clothes I worked hard to afford, who doesn't make me feel like I'm not good enough to stand next to her." I didn't. You did. And instead of acknowledging it, you've spent 4 days making me the villain. Because you are the villain. You left me at my company party after you told me I wasn't dressed well enough to be seen with you. That's not what I said. It's what you meant. And we both know it. She stared at me, jaw tight. I could see her deciding whether to escalate or retreat. She chose escalate. "Fine. If that's how you see it, then maybe we need some space." Space meaning what? Meaning I think you should stay somewhere else for a while. until we figure out what we're doing. I almost laughed. Almost. You want me to leave the apartment that we both pay rent for because you insulted me? I need space to process. And clearly you're not going to give me that while you're here. This was unbelievable. Genuinely unbelievable. But you know what? Fine. Okay, I said. She looked surprised. Okay. Yeah, I'll pack a bag tonight. Stay with my buddy for a few days. I thank you for understanding. Oh, I understand completely. I understood that she thought she could push me out of my own apartment and wait for me to come crawling back with an apology. I understood that her friends and family had reinforced her belief that she was the victim. I understood that in her mind, I was the one who needed to grovel. What she didn't understand was that I was done groveling. I packed my stuff that night and went to stay with my best friend. He welcomed me without question, set me up in his spare room, and handed me a beer. So what's the plan? He asked. I don't know yet, but I'm not apologizing for having self-respect. Good. You shouldn't. She's probably telling everyone I abandoned her. Let her. The truth has a way of coming out. I hope he was right. Update 2, 8 days later. After a week at my buddy's place, things took an unexpected turn. I've been keeping a low profile, going to work, coming home, avoiding social media, not engaging with any of the flying monkeys my girlfriend had sent after me. I figured eventually she'd either come to her senses or we'd have to have a real conversation about ending things. What I didn't expect was a call from her coworker. Her work friend, someone I met a few times at happy hours, reached out through LinkedIn of all places. Professional, discreet. Hey, I know this is weird, but can we talk? Coffee maybe? We met at a place near my work. She looked uncomfortable from the moment she sat down. I need to tell you something, and I don't want you to think I'm trying to start drama. But I think you deserve to know. Okay, at the party, the one you didn't come to, something happened. My stomach tightened. What do you mean? Your girlfriend spent most of the night with this guy from product development. They were close. Like really close. People noticed. Close how? Dancing. Sitting together during the speeches. She was laughing, touching his arm, doing that thing where you lean in too close when you're talking. That could just be networking. It could. Except at the end of the night, they left together. In his car. The words hit me like a physical blow. She said she was going home. I managed. She didn't. I saw her get in his car. A bunch of us did. Nobody said anything because, it's awkward. But after I heard what happened with you guys, I felt like you should know. Why are you telling me this? Because she's been trashing you at work. Telling everyone you abandoned her. You're controlling. You couldn't handle her success. And I'm sitting there knowing she got in another guy's car that night. And it just... She shook her head. It doesn't sit right with me. You seem like a decent guy the times I met you. You don't deserve to be the villain in a story where she's the one who... She stopped herself. Who what? I don't know for sure what happened after they left. I just know what I saw. And what I've been hearing doesn't match up. I thank her for telling me. She made me promise not to reveal her as the source. And I agreed. Then I drove back to my buddy's place and sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, trying to figure out what to do with this information. That night, I texted my girlfriend, we need to talk. In person. Tomorrow. She agreed. We met at a coffee shop the next afternoon. Neutral territory. So, she said, sitting down with her latte, are you ready to have a real conversation? Yeah. Let's start with what happened after the party. She blinked. What do you mean? I mean after the party ended. How did you get home? I took an Uber. What? You're sure about that? Yes. What is this about? Because I heard you left in someone's car. A guy from product development. Her face went through several expressions in rapid succession. Surprise, confusion, calculation, and then, for just a flash, panic. Who told you that? Does it matter? Yes, because it's not true. I don't know who's spreading rumors, but multiple people saw you get in his car. He offered me a ride. My phone was dead. I couldn't get an Uber. You have a portable charger in your purse. You showed it to me last month when I forgot mine. She faltered. It wasn't charged, right? It wasn't. This is insane. You're accusing me of something based on what? Office gossip? I'm asking you a question. You're the one who's not answering it. I did answer. He gave me a ride home. That's it. We're co-workers. Co-workers who spent the whole party together. Dancing. Sitting close. Touching. Are you seriously doing this right now? You abandoned me at that party, and now you're trying to make me the bad guy. I'm asking what happened. Nothing happened. You drove me home. I got out of the car. I went inside. End of story. I looked at her for a long moment. 3 years together. The apartment we shared, the future we talked about, the life I thought we were building. I don't believe you. That's your problem then. Maybe. But I'm done either way. Done with what? With this. With us. With being your scapegoat while you do whatever you want behind my back. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. She laughed. That same dismissive laugh from the night of the party. You're dumping me? Because of some rumor? I'm ending a relationship with someone who humiliated me, kicked me out of my own apartment, and can't give me a straight answer about what happened that night. This is insane. You're insane. Maybe. But I'm also leaving. I stood up, left a few dollars for my coffee, and walked out. She followed me into the parking lot, yelling about how I was making a mistake, how I'd regret this, how no one would believe her crazy ex-boyfriend over her. I got in my car and drove away. Final update, 11 days later. The fallout has been a lot, but also weirdly clarifying. After that conversation at the coffee shop, I went back to the apartment to get the rest of my stuff. I've been paying my half of the rent through the end of the month, so legally I had every right to be there. I brought my buddy as backup, just in case. She wasn't home. Either by design or coincidence, I don't know. I packed everything that was mine, clothes, books, the suit she'd laughed at, my gaming setup, kitchen stuff I'd bought before we moved in together. Took about 3 hours with my buddy's help. I left my keys on the counter and walked out. The next few days were a blur of logistics. Finding a new place. Ended up subletting a room from a coworker who had extra space, updating my address, adjusting to being single again after 2.5 years. Then the messages started. Not from her directly. She'd blocked me on everything by that point, but from mutual friends. People I'd thought were neutral. I heard you accused her of cheating without any proof. She says you were controlling and paranoid the whole relationship. I can't believe you'd abandon someone at a work event and then dump her when she's already hurt. The narrative she was spinning was creative, I'll give her that. In her version, I was the villain from start to finish, the insecure boyfriend who couldn't handle her success, who nitpicked her friendships, who made up cheating accusations because I couldn't cope with being less than her professionally. I didn't respond to any of it. What would be the point? The people who believed her version had already made up their minds. But something interesting happened about a week after the breakup. Her co-worker, the one who'd originally told me about the guy from product development, reached out again. I thought you should know. People at work are talking. About that night. Were they saying that she and the product guy have been close? For a while. Since before the party. How long is a while? Nobody knows exactly. But someone from their team said they've been having lunch together almost every day for months. And after the party, there was apparently an incident in the parking garage where someone saw them. She stopped. I don't want to spread rumors I can't confirm. But people are talking. People are definitely talking. I thank her again. Asked her to keep me updated if anything major happened. She said she would. 3 days later, she texted me. It's official. They're together now. She announced it on Instagram. I didn't look. I didn't need to. The relationship she'd been building behind my back was now her public relationship. The guy from product development was her new boyfriend, probably had been emotionally for months before that party. And the suit incident? The laughing, the insults, the demands that I change? That was her creating an excuse to go alone. Creating a fight so she could spend the night with him without me around. Creating a narrative where I was the bad guy, so that when it all came out, she could say I drove her away. It all made sense now. I've been positioned as the villain in a story that was never about my suit at all. Here's the thing, though. Understanding it doesn't make it hurt less. I still wasted 2.5 years on someone who was capable of that. I still have to rebuild my life from scratch. I still catch myself reaching for my phone to text her something funny, then remembering she's gone. But I also know I made the right call. Every single step of the way. When she laughed at my suit, I chose self-respect over accommodation. When she demanded I apologize, I refused to take blame for her cruelty. When she kicked me out, I left instead of begging to stay. And when she couldn't give me a straight answer about that night, I walked away for good. Some people have asked me if I regret not going to the party. If maybe things would have been different if I just swallowed my pride and showed up. Honestly, no. If I'd gone, I would have spent the night watching my girlfriend flirt with another man while pretending everything was fine. I would have been the clueless boyfriend in the corner while she built the foundation for her next relationship. Instead, I was at a sports bar with my best friend, watching a good game and enjoying myself. Given the choice, I'd pick the sports bar every time. The suit, by the way, still fits perfectly. I wore it to a wedding last weekend. My coworker's daughter got married, and they invited the whole team. Several people complimented it. One woman asked where I got it tailored. I gave her the name of the shop. Then I had a great time at a party where nobody was embarrassed to be seen with me. That felt pretty good. Thanks for following along, everyone. Your comments and support kept me sane during some really dark moments. Special thanks to everyone who told me I wasn't crazy for leaving. On the worst nights, those messages mattered more than you know. I'm going to log off for a while and focus on putting my life back together. New apartment, new routines, new chapter. The suit's coming with me.